I think my priorities are sort of threefold. One is that we need to perhaps do more to mainstream the impact of climate change, for people to understand that this is not something that is a peripheral issue to people. Affects all of us. It's a global issue. It doesn't affect country boundaries. It doesn't affect national boundaries. And it must be looked at in the context of all the other threats and challenges we face to global prosperity, well-being, and ultimately global security. We need to make sure that the narrative, the story, is a story that resonates with the audience, and it will vary. There are many impacts of climate change, from environmental, social, health, but also those that impact on the economy and ultimately on national security. And we need to make sure that that narrative is fresh, it's supported by facts, and the storytellers are those who can resonate with their audience. And the third piece, I think, is to ensure that we make progress towards the 2015 point, the point we fixed in time to achieve that. And that really forms into three phases. An informed piece, and then to get more voices around the table, be it cabinet tables, be it dining room tables, or boardroom tables for business. And from that, we will see action in national capitals and in countries as people start to see the benefits and the opportunities, especially in the economic senses of a low-carbon, energy-effective economy. And the third phase is a commitment to international action.
And can you run me through why, and given your history as a Rear Admiral, you'll be in an ideal position to do so, but can you run me through why youth see climate change, not just as a security issue globally, but specifically as far as the UK is concerned?
Climate change will act as a potential threat multiplier, or a changing climate will do so, in the sense that it will add stress in parts of the world where people already have problems: food shortages, water shortages, health problems, demographic challenges, parts of the world where we've seen conflict, often because countries don't necessarily have the resilience and the capacity to look after their citizens. So the second and third order consequences of that changing climate, perhaps loss of land, loss of livelihood, adds to the stresses. Now that's in a belt that runs around the world, north and south of the equator, through Meso and Central America, Africa, Middle East, and on into Asia. And you could argue, if you live in Northern Europe, well, that's a long way away, it doesn't affect us. But the reality is we live in a globalised world. And we're very much dependent on what happens in other parts of the world for our own well-being, our own prosperity. If you're seeing increased instability in those parts of the world, there's places where we see our resources coming from, energy, for example, volatility in prices, impacts on our ability to be competitive. We've seen some extreme weather events, the impact of floods in Thailand in 2011, where not only were the Thai population affected and rice yields, but also parts for Honda and Toyota cars that are manufactured there and assembled in third countries, and Honda in Swindon was affected. Similarly, microchips in Orange County, California, and in Poland, shortage of PCs in the run-up to Christmas. In other words, it's a globalised effect that impacts on all of us, and therefore, particularly as you see the world's trade routes pass right through the middle of that. And every nation I've visited, both in my previous role as the UK government's climate and energy security envoy and in my naval career, is a trading nation, and that's why we're all affected by it.